It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Wow, little screw up right off the get-go this morning. I couldn't get things started and flicked up the camera before the intro, and oh well. Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. This is the Saturday Travel and Cruise Industry News update. And let's get right at it. Boy, do we got a really neat show today. How often can I chat about two hurricanes, Cartagena, San Juan, Hot Air, Tom, and Lee, Greenwood, all at the same time? Now, I have had several people to ask me a question, some of them in favor, some of them not, why I'm talking about two hurricanes, and the mainstream media is talking about one. Primarily the mainstream media, of course, is the Weather Channel when you're talking about hurricanes. And yes, they're talking about the one that's going to hit the Gulf Coast. They look primarily, 90% of their content is about weather in the continental United States. Rarely do they talk about weather elsewhere unless it's just something special or out of the ordinary. My focus is on weather for our cruise community in the United States, which takes in the Pacific as well. Well, there's a hurricane in the Pacific that's going to bang Mexico. That affects our West Coast cruise folks sailing out of Los Angeles or San Diego or doing the Panama Canal. Of course, a lot of those cruises aren't going yet. I understand that, but it's the heart of the thing. Alaska, the West Coast cruises to Alaska. You know, there's a major segment of our community that has to deal with the Pacific as well as the Atlantic. So I can't just look at, one system in the Atlantic. So we're going to have to look at first Ida, which is, let's see if I can get back up to the right place here. That's Hurricane Ida. Now, as you can see from looking at this is a little while ago, but it's going to come somewhere in the vicinity of New Orleans and then head over. And now, if it's New Orleans or east, it's going to affect me here in Virginia. If it's west of New Orleans, the chances are it could go west of me and not hit me here. So we'll just have to see what happens in the next few days. But anyway, Hurricane Ida, preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion today in the warning area all along the northern Gulf Coast. Now, we still got to look at from the panhandle of Florida to Houston, because it could fall anywhere in there. There could be a number of jogs taking place. The last numbers I had, she was about 330 miles south-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi, 390 miles south-southeast of New Orleans. She was at 85 miles an hour. Rapid intensification has taken place. She's still moving off at a pretty good clip, 16 miles an hour. Pressure's down to 985. Now, the center of Ida will move over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico today and over the north-central Gulf of Mexico tomorrow. Ida is then expected to make landfall somewhere along the northern Gulf Coast. Could be late tonight, early Sunday, even could go through the day Sunday. We just don't know yet. And the reason we don't know is because of the speed. Now, it's flying right now, but it's going to get up somewhere probably to the day Sunday, and all of a sudden they're going to slam on the brakes and it's going to crawl. So the last, 30, 40 miles off coast till we actually have landfall. And then when we first have landfall going up into, let's say, Louisiana, if that's where it is, it's going to be really deathly slow, which is going to increase the rainfall, increase the storm surge. It just could be nasty. So all of you guys down there, be safe, be smart. Now, in the meantime, if you look at the overall map in the Atlantic, we've got 10, which is down in the south part. It's not likely to go anywhere. The forecast track for 10 is it's just going to go up here, up into to next week, and probably get eaten up by another front. Meanwhile, the X on the map is still an unnamed system, and it's probably going to stay that way. So that takes care of the Atlantic. Obviously, we've got to watch 10 in case it has some magical change of direction. And, of course, Ida is going to be nasty. Now, it's expected to be a major hurricane. It could end up at landfall at a Category 3 or a Category 4. The last little bit of information that the hunters got out of it, they tend to be leaning more toward a 3 now as opposed to a 4. So, all right, out in the Pacific, we have the second hurricane. And that is Hurricane Nora, which is expected to produce hurricane force winds today along the Jalisco coastline. Torrential rains could cause life-threatening flash floods and mudslides. The last numbers I had, it was 180 miles south of Cabo Corrientes, 460 miles south of Cabo San Lucas, 75-mile-an-hour sustained wind, so it's Category 1 so far. It's moving at 10 miles an hour, so it's still a decent clip, but not as fast as Ida's moving. The pressure, however, is down to 983. Center of Nora is expected to approach the southwestern coast of Mexico later today and pass very near the coast of the states of Jalisco and Nayarit by tonight. Nora is then forecast to approach and move into the Gulf of California on Sunday and Monday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to about 75, making Nora a Category 1 hurricane. Additional short-term intensification is anticipated as long as Nora remains offshore of the coast. So, if we look at this, you can see where it's going to just hug the coastline, supposedly stay offshore till it gets up to Baja, could possibly have landfall on Baja. It could just come straight up the Baja California and stay in the water, which then it could possibly intensify more than they're counting on. I'm thinking it's going to have some land interaction in there someplace, but it's going to throw off a lot of rain, a lot of upper level winds, and actually it's the upper level winds coming off of this hurricane that's steering Ida away from New Orleans to the east. Once it gets landfall and gets pushed back toward Virginia in this general direction, it's actually the upper level winds from Hurricane Nora that's causing that. But I don't agree with the mainstream media not talking about it. They don't even mention it. And it's a major factor in the whole thing that's going on right now. So, all right. I mentioned Lee Greenwood. I think this is probably the first time on this channel I've ever mentioned the name Lee Greenwood. Country music legend Lee Greenwood will be joining American Countess and the American Queen riverboats for 3 special sailings starting in June of 2022. Greenwood, who makes the favorite riverboat stop of Clarksville his home, will board the vessels and visit with guests on board before taking to the stage for a performance of his iconic hits like God Bless America, USA, and a bunch of other stuff. So good for the cruise ships, the paddle wheelers, the riverboats, and Lee Greenwood. That was, if some of your country music fans Now, you might want to look into that. The first one's in June of 2022. So just throwing it out there. All right, the week saw a couple major things in the cruise industry on the good side. One, we saw a ship docked at Cartagena in Colombia, which finally kicks off their 2021-2022 cruise season. According to officials, 26 cruises are projected to arrive in Cartagena, and 7 more will dock in Santa Maria. So they're going to be busy down there. Windstar Cruise Line's Star Breeze docked in Cartagena with a total of 312 passengers, 190 crew members this week. The ship is currently sailing on a 14-day itinerary, which also takes in Aruba, Curacao, and Panama. Multiple cruise lines will be stopping in Colombia this year, including Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, and MSC. They'll all be stopping in Cartagena. Norwegian and the Ritz-Carlton have committed to porting in Santa Maria, the other port in Colombia. All right, Symphony of the Seas. This was kind of an interesting story. This happened 2 days ago. The largest cruise ship in the world arrived in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's the first time to call in San Juan, first time a Royal Caribbean major cruise ship has called in San Juan since she resumed sailing earlier this month. The Royal Caribbean cruise ship was the first in Royal Caribbean fleet to include San Juan in her itinerary, although the call was not planned as such. The ship arrived early in the morning into port with around 1,300 passengers because they're not sailing anywhere near full. Most of the guests are fully vaccinated, while those under 12 had to be tested extensively before being allowed on board. The ship was blocked from going into St. Kitts and Nevis, as was supposed to happen, by the local government there. They canceled the call after uncertainty about vaccinations and testing protocols. Now, Symphony of the Sea is scheduled to arrive back into Miami tomorrow. Royal Caribbean has canceled Falmouth and Nassau from next week's cruise and replaced those ports with Cozumel and Costa Maya. In the meantime, Jamaica has announced it'll be entering a series of lockdowns that could affect those cruise schedules and even more schedules. This just indicates the times we live in, folks. Cruise lines have to deal with many different governments, rules, protocols, but most importantly, changes on the fly. The cruise industry can be sure these changes are going to continue to come along as the pandemic continues. Now, here's the back end of this story, quite frankly, and I'm not sure how to take it or whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Royal Caribbean has implemented a new policy that requires all guests on back-to-back cruises to pack up all their items and leave the vessel between their cruises. The cruise line sent out the new procedures to guests this week, which comes when the cruise line has been actively reviewing and renewing its onboard policy for vaccinations, back-to-back cruising, and testing on board and ashore since the Bahamas and the Virgin Islands changed their entry requirements. This policy could be one more of those type of items. It means basically, folks, if you are on back-to-back cruises, in the past, if you're back-to-back on the same ship, you leave all your stuff if you've got the same cabin, you leave all your stuff in your cabin. Maybe you have to go offshore and check in and come back onshore, but it's a piece of cake. Now, you got to pack up all your crap, get off the ship, completely disembark, undergo testing, wait for a test result to come in, stand in line again and go through the embarkation procedures again, and then get back on the ship. It seems that they don't want back-to-back cruises anymore. It's quite different with Carnival. They only require guests to leave the ship to go through customs and immigration procedures. Their stuff can stay on the ship. Whatever the reason, it's apparent that Royal Caribbean has taken no chances to make sure COVID stays off its ships, I guess. The line has now implemented a 100% vaccination mandate on all its ships worldwide. Well, that I'm all in favor of. The only exception is for kids under 12 that can't be vaccinated yet. And that'll be adjusted as soon as vaccinations are available for kids under 12. Guaranteed. Back-to-back cruises are only available to guests of whom all of the travel party have been fully vaccinated. So if you have a kid under 12 that hasn't been vaccinated, they will not let you go back to back. It just seems a little harsh. And maybe there's something about this I don't know. Something about this that would make it maybe makes more sense. I don't know. All right. Before I get to talking about Hot Air Tom, Bubba's drink of the day, I thought this was pretty cute. Schlock Ma Saturday. Schlock, S-C-H-O-C-K, Ma, M-A-H, Saturday. The Shock Ma is a sweet and savory orange cocktail made from Mozart white chocolate liqueur, citrus vodka, liqueur 43, absinthe, and mango juice, and served in a chilled cocktail glass, garnished with Parmesan cheese. What? This makes a perfect aperitif when using cheese in your meal. Will that work if you go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger? I don't know about that. So, all right. I get to do something today that's Hot Air Tom. Tom is I think he probably left a note that they're driving today. They're in a car, so he's not here to defend himself. Tom, I hope you're listening. All right, this is first. Tom was almost to get in trouble down there in Key West. The chickens. He tried to grab the chickens and the little chickpea there in front of the chicken and get it in his suitcase to take it home for a new pet. And they said, no, you can't do that, Tom. All right, he was out on a nice cruise. Weather wasn't the best, but it wasn't that bad. They did a sunset cruise. A couple shots there. It's a little gray overcast because remember, there's a hurricane going by. Of course, this was maybe, I don't know what day it was. Now, folks, I would never, ever lead you astray. Never. But one night, Hot Air Tom dumped Cindy someplace, and this was his date for the night. Yeah, you can believe that. Anyway, that's one of the drag shows down there in Key West, and Cindy's thinking, "Oh my God, I'm gonna kill him." Me or Tom? I'm not sure which. Cindy. Oh dear! And this, of course, that's a lovely picture of Hot Air Tom out on the water. It's not a big major cruise ship, but he's out on the water, camera in hand, taking pictures. That's a very good picture, Tom, by the way. And that's, of course, the ship they were out sailing about. Now, while Tom was doing this, back some time ago, Guy Fieri, Guy Fieri from the burger joint on the Carnival ship? Well, he was in Key West and did a show on drive-in, diners, drive-in, and dives on TJ's Crab Shack or something like that. I forget the name of it exactly. But anyway, he was down there. Well, now this place has become infamous. Not only was Guy Fieri there, but now Hot Air Tom is there. So, man, if you can buy stock in TJ's Crab Shack, whoa, it's got to soar. Guy Fieri and Hot Air Tom have both been in the same place. Awesome. And our friend Allison, by the way, she crawled on the Iona today. She'll be sailing. I hope to hear something from her on Wi-Fi signals and so forth out of the Iona when she gets on board and gets a chance to check it all out and so forth. But anyway, hopefully we'll have a live stream from her sometime. And hopefully if there was no hurricane damage to Cozumel, which I don't think this one bothered Cozumel at all. Maybe some in passing, but it was on top of them getting nailed last week. Hopefully we'll have Elizabeth Stern on tomorrow on the Cruise Amigos. That's the plan. If Allison does get a live stream, we might have her on tomorrow too, or might have Allison one day next week. Just don't know. That one's still up in the air. So, all right, let's go see how many mistakes I've made today and who's going to fuss at me. And Tom said they're in the car heading off, and that way he wasn't here to defend himself. Sonny says, good morning, Chillie, Tom, and everyone preparing for the hurricane. Yeah, Sonny, I know. You guys be careful down there. Carol's with us. Nikki's with us. Tom Henry says, is there sound? We have sound. Oh, maybe Tom and Cindy couldn't hear me in the car. Tom, I'm Vivius. We hope to go to Islamorada in October or November.
Morning, Chillie.
Hope you and Cindy have a lovely time. Sonny's with us down Mississippi. Jason's with us up in Pittsburgh. Jason, drive to New Orleans, Tom. We want a Chillie chats in the hurricane. Yeah, that'd be all right. Emily's with us up in New York. She says, hi, gang. Quite cool and windy and cloudy today, 72. Wow. It's going to be 96 here today. I will be going to the pool. Emily says, sounds like back-to-back, not worth doing. That's what I thought. I understand the cruise lines have to do things and they have to do it on the fly. But just some of the decisions, I don't know. I'm confused on some of it. Carol's signing cruising Princess back-to-back and not Royal Caribbean, but that's obviously a good thing. And boy, that would be a pain in the butt to have to pack everything up and then come back to the same cabin. Wow. And then sit through the whole, testing and have to sit and wait for the results before you can get back on. What happens if you failed? You're set up to go back-to-back. What happens if you had a false positive and you failed? You got no way of getting home. Of course, I guess if you have insurance, the right insurance, you would cover it. But, wow. Emily wants to know, Tom, how did the chicken cross the road? Cindy was there too. It was her idea. Oh, to take the chicken? Cindy, you should be ashamed of yourself. I blamed it all on Hot Air Tom. Sonny says, great pick, Tom. Love your shirt. Yeah, that was his marijuana shirt. No, it wasn't a marijuana shirt. It was a palm tree shirt. But since he's not here to defend himself, I can say all kinds of stuff. Emily says, either way, the Amiga show will be good tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have come up with something. I really do hope Emily's here. Emily. I hope Elizabeth can be with us. You know, she works on the ships in the industry, and she just is waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to get recalled back to work. So she hangs out in one of the local bars a lot, which is probably where the live stream will come from. Amy's here. I'm just late. Hi, Amy. What Emily Chillie has background fans. Oh, yeah. Jason says, hot air Tom is a big guy. I wouldn't mess with him. Yeah. Oh, Tom's a sweetheart, though. I love Tom. I've never met Cindy or talked to Cindy, but I do. I really enjoy Tom immensely. And I like the fact that he'll take my playing with him in stride. So, all right, that's going to wrap me up for today, folks. Of course, I'll be tracking hurricanes all night tonight and all day tomorrow. If we have any major updates that's not being shown on traditional news, you know, I'll make them. I've also started a new feature on my shorts. I'm doing shorts on the 50 most popular national parks. And I posted, this is according to Newsweek. I posted my first one early this morning on Great Basin National Park out in Nevada. It is the 50th ranked, and it's going to be a countdown kind of thing. Probably one a day if I can keep up with it. So tomorrow I'll post the 49th one. So you'll have to look for that to see when it is. But it's one of the short videos because that seems to be attracting a lot of new people to this channel. Of course, I love all of you guys immensely, but it's great to have new people coming in. So if you are new to this channel, you can tell all my guys get over here in the chat room and talk about things, whether it's me or not. Sometimes they pay absolutely no attention to me, which is okay, but they carry on good conversations all the time. Feel free to jump in and join them. As always, folks, we appreciate the thumbs up. Again, Jason, thank you for the couple of super chats this week. I do appreciate that. That always helps. And that's going to wrap me up for today, folks. I will see you next time tomorrow on the Cruise Amigos, which will be live at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and that's 7 p.m. British BST, British Summertime. And then I'll be back with travel and cruise industry news on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You guys have a great weekend. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.